Friends, I do not know why, for as long as I've had this channel, that I have never had a purely manhwa focused video, but today we are changing that. Hello friends, happy Wednesday, so very excited that you're here. I am hyped for this prompt. I knew my picks right away. It's very interesting because I think a few weeks ago when I was doing the video series of top 24 debuts from a variety publisher, my friend Sarah was like, hey, are you gonna do Eyes Press? And I was like, man, am I gonna do Eyes Press? And at the time, I was like, I don't think Eyes Press has released enough manhwa like debuts that I personally have picked up that year. And I was like, yeah, I really would like to do that kind of video. And then a friend reached out on Instagram and was asking for manhwa recs, or if I even had a manhwa video for Top 5 Wednesday, and I was like, it's a sign, y'all. It is a sign. So shout out to both of those ladies because they're the inspiration behind this prompt, because when I was going back through my videos, I realized the only one I sort of had that was manhwa related, and it's not, it's webcomics, is when I did a reel of like my top, I think it was like top 5 series I'm reading on Webtoons right now, I think is what it was called. It was something along those lines. And so that's all that I have. So today we're going to be talking about my top 5 favorite manhwa that I have read, that I deeply, deeply loved. And funny enough, -1, all of them are from Eyes Press, but the other one's from Yen Press. So they're all from the same company, I guess you would say. And I'm going to warn that these are in no specific order, because if you were to ask me to rank these from first to last, I would be struggling. Now, the first 3, though, I can tell you that the first 3 of the entire stack are definitely my favorite. So let's go ahead and jump right in. For number 1, I am saying The Remarried Empress. I am more or less double dipping on this series. I guess it's not double dipping because I'm not buying it twice, and I haven't bought any of the chapters except for maybe like 3 out of what I've read on Webtoons. But I am like rereading this. Like, this is the only manhwa that I read weekly or stay up to date with. I love this series so much, and it's crazy because I remember this was part of Eyes Press, like their first and original launch that they did of their line and everything. And I saw it and I heard it was very political, and I was like, okay, the art looks okay. I'm like, but this really doesn't sound like my cup of tea. But then I remember seeing a few friends share about it, and they're like, whoa, I remember binge reading this and I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. I gave it a shot. My youngest, my daughter, was sick with a horrible stomach bug, and we were up for like 2 or 3 days with very little sleep. During that time, I remember like, you know, rubbing her back and patting her back and everything. And I'm over here in the corner at 3 a.m. like scrolling, reading these chapters. I could not get enough, and hopefully it doesn't sound bad. Like, I made sure she was okay. You know, like just sort of like you're not actually being sick, but your stomach's saying, I'm about to be sick. That's what was happening. Just as an FYI, I took care of my daughter. I put my phone down, wasn't reading while she's like needing me. But I remember reading it and thinking like, man, this is nothing like I typically pick up. And it's very true for me with manhwa. I will try things that typically are not my go-tos with manga. I think a large part of that is it's so much easier to try manhwa online, like legally, like you can go find the source. In this case, I was able to read the whole thing at the time, like the first 2 seasons, but other series, like some of these, you're able to try like the first 3 chapters for free, or you get like, you try that for free and then you know, get a free chapter every day at that time, because I feel like they don't even do that anymore. But anyway, if you're not familiar with The Remarried Empress, I've definitely talked a lot about on this channel. I have definitely ranted about these characters more than once. Not our sweet Navier, not our Empress, because she is amazing. She is fantastic, but it is her very, very complicated, not very cool, but has really great moments, love story. In the beginning, she is married to the Emperor. It opens up basically with him demanding that he's going to be divorcing Navier, our Empress here. Trying to find a picture of him. Here we go. That he's going to divorce her and be with this other woman. But the thing is she's like, okay, I'll go through with this divorce, but I want my remarriage approved. And then out comes this other guy, and we're like, what in the world? And so it starts there. Okay, like that's literally the opening pages, and then it does a flashback of everything that happens leading up to this point. And it's a whirlwind because yeah, the Emperor finds an angel in his bear trap when he goes hunting one weekend, and he takes her in because she's very beautiful. Her name is Rashida. More or less, he starts developing feelings for her and choosing her over his own wife, Navier. And then out comes this plan that he's going to divorce her to be with Rashida. I don't know if it says what she she is, but let's just say she is a commoner. She treats Navier as if Navier were her sister. And they're like, we're going to share the same husband. And she's not really sure why Navier is offended that she just said, we're going to share the same husband. I don't know. I don't know. But this is a political series, and you guys know I have talked about before that I really struggle with politics. I feel like this one's okay because it's a political drama. I don't need to remember names. I don't need to remember faces. I don't remember how X person blackmailed the Y person, and Y person's now talking to Z, and they're wanting to gain payback at X. I don't have to remember all of that complicated stuff. I just sort of have to basically keep up what's the latest dumbest thing that the Emperor has said or done to Navier. Really, this story has been so beautiful and so satisfying. I don't quite get the hate for it, and maybe I am just biased and I really love majority of the characters. But honestly, seeing how Navier starts in the beginning, how she is this cold, icy woman, to how warm and loving she is in the latest chapters has been a beautiful and emotional journey to be on, especially coming back and rereading earlier volumes, because right now we're on season 3 on Webtoons, but with volume 9, we're seeing things right before it happens in the beginning. So it's definitely taking us way back. And so it's been really jolting to a degree because I'm like, Navier's such a different person now, but also again, very satisfying seeing how she has come to be where she's at. There's a lot of interesting decisions that a lot of characters have made, and I have definitely trashed on Rashita, and I have definitely called her nickname by the community called Trashita, but I never expected with a lot of these characters that well, a few of these characters, not a lot, but a few of these characters I really, really disliked, that in the latest updates, I have actually cried for some of these chapters, or for some of these characters, excuse me. The Emperor, I was so salty that I cried for that man. That man deserves nothing, and he has just made me so angry, like, all the time. This last week's chapter ended on a cliffhanger, and this is just one series that I've always so tempted to spend coins on to read ahead, but I really don't like doing that on Webtoons because then you have to wait, or you have to keep spending money, and I'm like, no, we just gotta suck it up and wait, Laura, to see what happens. But I would definitely recommend this if you like political drama where their politics are just sort of the plot, the setting, and it's all the drama. Like, that is the story. Also seeing a woman have a second chance, and I say older woman, she's not old. Navier's not old, but she's not in high school either. She's been married for several years, and so now she's getting this second chance with a much better man. We love Henry here. He's just fantastic. Also, this does have one of the characters, Navier's brother. He'd be doing some bad things, okay? I'm not going to say that he doesn't, but that's okay. We still love him. I love his character a lot, and he is a character I turn a blind eye to. He's done some really shady things, okay? But he does it all in the name of Navier, and I'm like, Navier deserves the world, so I'm like, it's okay, because we're on the same page here, buddy. Not that I would do those things. No, no, no. I'm just saying we're in Navier's cheer section together, and I'm like, it's okay. Long as we're here cheering for Navier in our ways, it's all okay at the end of the day. So yeah, I have one of those characters in this series, which is not normal for me to be able to say that, but I love it. And it's just an emotional journey every single week, and I never know what to expect, but it has continued to be deeply engaging, even 3 seasons in, even after a whirlwind of things have happened. There's never ever been a boring moment in this story. I really hope, for the sake of those who are physical readers only for this series, I hope for your sake we get volume 10, because even though I knew what happened at the end of volume 9, I know what's to come, I still had to go online and go read and to like give myself peace of mind. I'm like, that was the worst cliffhanger with no details of volume 10, like not even in Korea. I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, that is the time you gotta go online, you gotta go read, and all of it is like free to read. There's no like free pass or daily pass, whatever it's called. Like, nope, you don't need ads to unlock anything. You could just straight binge it, because that is, in my opinion, that is one of the best ways to read this series. It is so, so good. For number 2, you guys already know my girl Penelope gotta be on this list. Villains are destined to die. I just read volume 7 last weekend, actually, I think it was. It was amazing. I love Penelope. I mean, you could look at my profile picture and see that Penelope in me says #1 fan. Yes, I love Penelope. I want to say she could do no wrong, but there have been a few choices that I'm like, Penelope, I love you so much, but you really shouldn't have done that. You really shouldn't have done that. I love villainous manga, manhwa in general, but when it comes to this story, it is about our main female lead here. Her name is Penelope. But before she was Penelope in this game. She in Korea was playing, I forget the name of the game, honestly, but she was playing an Otome game. She decided to do hard mode. She's trying and trying. She stays up all night and she ends up falling asleep. But when she wakes up, she is in the body of villainous Penelope in this game. And she is on hard mode in this game. All of the love interests, potential love interests, are at 20%. And if their love drops to 0, okay, if that percent drops to 0, they're going to be taking Penelope's life. And obviously she doesn't want to do that. But at the same time, she really doesn't want to be in this world. I mean, she's getting these little dialogue pop-ups that are dictating all of her actions, like right here, where she has to decide, and she's like, anything I do could lead to my death, could lead to my doom. And so she's really frustrated by all of these things happening. Eventually, she does have the dialogue boxes leave and she can make her own decisions, but literally she's so concerned, fearful for any of her actions because she's like, any wrong thing I say can make that percent drop, leading me closer to my doom, to my demise. And obviously she doesn't want that. What I was gonna say before I start talking about what the book's about, I really love how unique this series is in that it does have those dialogue boxes that when she's being reincarnated, transmigrated into this Otome game, she doesn't have that free will to make decisions that weren't offered in the original game. I thought that was a very unique premise because typically in villainous manga, we don't see that if they've been like reincarnated into an actual Otome game, but we see it in this. Also, the fear. This is one of the very few series that I have genuinely felt terrified for the female lead, that she actually might hit her red flag, that she might actually die in the series. It's not as prevalent now in the later volumes because the percentages of all the guys have gone up, so her chances of dying are very low, it feels like to me. Sort of, because there's other things that are going to be happening. But in the beginning, though, let's take Callisto, for example, one of the love interests. I don't think we see him in this film. I think we see him at the... Oh, no, I take it back. Yes. Callisto? I'm on Team Callisto now, okay? But in the beginning, I was terrified of this man for Penelope's behalf. I was like, girl, you need to stay away from him. Like, everything that she was feeling, I was like, yes, stay away from him. Have nothing to do with him. Do whatever you have to stay alive. And the best way to do that is not be around him. I mean, genuinely, like, I've never felt that kind of fear to that level where I'm holding my breath and I am just feeling myself slightly go pale because I'm like, surely this is a fictional story, and if it's following the trope of the villainess, then she's gonna live. But I really struggled if like that trope was really gonna live out and play out in this series, because that's how intense it was with these guys, where they just seem to hate Penelope's guts in the beginning. And I'm just like, dude, what is your problem? What is your problem? Really love how my own feelings have been so up and down when I read this series. I mean, my love for Penelope has been like straight all the way, but like for the love interest and really not knowing how I'm gonna feel about them the next volume, because like Reynold, he's one of them. He was in the doghouse for a long time. Now I'm like, dude, you one of the best boys in the series. Like, you are Penelope. I mean, he messed up though in volume 7 though. He screwed up, but I think there's something else at work. So I don't think that was fully Reynold, to be honest. But I never expected to be like, yeah, he's one of the best boys. He loves Penelope. He's in her cheer section. Like, I never expected that to feel that way personally. So it's definitely an up and down roller coaster, and I just love the series very, very much. Penelope, I mean, the guys, most of them are great, like Callisto's great, but we are here for Penelope. Like, nobody is better than Penelope in this series. Like, I just love her character. I love because, and I think I love her so much and love this series, is because I just don't know how she does it. To be faced with such huge decisions where like anything you say puts your life at risk and still be willing to go outside of your bedroom and face these men. That is such deep courage to do. And yes, there's definitely times that she's scared, but even with this horrible reputation that she supposedly has because of the previous Penelope, she's still going out and doing things. And I'm like, girl, you're so gutsy. Like, I am just amazed at the decisions and the choices that she makes. Yes, could some of them be better? Because like I've been seeing some discourse recently where people are like, Penelope's so mean to these guys. And I'm like, please, let's not bash Penelope. We're not in her shoes. And yes, maybe like things with Eccles, where I'm like, like, girl, I don't feel you made the smartest decisions there. I get where you're coming from. I get your reasonings, but I can't say I'm 100% for this. But I'm not in her shoes, and I feel like if I was, like, yeah, I would be putting all my eggs in one basket with this one dude who seems like he's going to be the end game, because that's the thing, is in order for her life to be saved, where there's guaranteed a happy ending in the sense that she stays alive, she needs one of those guys to have 100%. Volume 8 with the preview, I'm like, Penelope, we're about to be there, girl, and I don't think this is what you wanted. This is not what I wanted for you. So I love this series. It is wonderful in every way. No matter how angry I get, no matter how upset I get, no matter how scared I get, or how happy as well, I love every moment. I have such a wonderful time, and I'm so excited. Like, my excitement was hopefully tangible in this video when we got the news that we're getting the novel printed. I cannot wait. I love this series so very much. I love these characters, mainly Penelope, though. I'm here. She's the best girl, and I love her so much. For number 3, probably no surprises this one, because I am double dipping, and that is my secretly hot husband. I recently, in my manga news video from this past Monday, I talked about how I had an apology because I was telling everybody that this was going to be 3 volumes. And you know something? Season 1 is 3 volumes. Season 2 is at least 4 and 5 volumes. Volume 4 and Volume 5. And I said, oh. So I felt really bad. And apparently my math is just not mathing when it comes to manhwa. And I just don't connect. Laura, you can't have, like, what? I think My Secretly Hot Husband is 100 chapters, 109 chapters. Like, you can't have 109 chapters in 3 words of manhwa this tiny of a spine. Like, it's just not possible. So yeah, but I am like I said, I am double dipping on this series. I read it on Tapas 2 years ago. It won for my favorite read of 2023. I spent like so much money on those chapters. It was on a deal for like 50% off every chapter due to the series ending. When it got announced physically, I screamed. Well, no, it got announced, but when I got to hold it, because there was like no news for the longest, I did some eternal screaming. I was so excited to have my beloveds in my hand. So it is about our main girl here. She is a transmigrator from Korea. Something happens and she ends up passing away in Korea, and then she wakes up in this other world, this fantasy world. And the thing is, if the people here find out that you have your memories from your life in Korea, you are considered a witch and can be burned at the stake. So obviously she doesn't want that to happen. And so she's in this family who are not her actual real parents, because unfortunately they have passed away, and her uncle and her aunt are sleazebags. And they decide, well, hey, our actual daughters are supposed to go marry this monster lord, and there's all these scary rumors about all these things and what his people, like his staff at his castle, do and what he does. So we're just gonna send off our main girl in our actual daughter's place to keep them safe. So she goes, this young woman who goes to meet Erden, our main monster lord here, and you find out before that, like it's in the opening pages, that our monster lord is actually very, very attractive, and he's not the monster that everybody makes him out to be. He is so wholesome and has a heart of gold. He is a precious little being, y'all. Like, he is precious. They have this marriage to help get rid of this, like, I forgot if it wasn't a contract, but basically a marriage needed to happen, an arranged marriage, get rid of this contract that happened between their fathers or something like that. Now here they are married, but Erden's like, you know, you shouldn't be with a monster like me, because yeah, he says that he's really ugly, and it's like, what's going on there, buddy? Because your face ain't showing that you're super ugly. I don't know if you guys want to, I mean, you can see part of his face, so I won't show you the full thing, but it is their love story. And I talked about this too in a Top 5 Wednesday video of how I feel this would be or make a perfect anime. It has a little bit of everything. The romance is not overpowering, which for me is a little bit of a bummer because I really love the romance in this. And I actually, after I read volume 2 recently, I'm like, man, that one moment wasn't in this volume. I had to go back, go find the chapter. I was like, I gotta go read that moment because it's a good moment. And I was like, oh, then that led me also rereading other chapters because I love the series. I love it so much. But yeah, it has like that romance and there's so much action, and our female lead here takes matters into her own hands. We are about to see her coming up in volume 3. She's going to start a pyramid scheme to take down one of these devils that's causing chaos in this land, because that's part of it. Erden is the monster lord because he goes and he slays these devils, these like evil creatures that are going and causing chaos in the land. They're causing a lot of problems for the humans. And so you have these slayers who go out and fight them. Not everybody, of course, is on board, and that would be the devils themselves. And so our female girl, when she's having to deal with them when Erden is away, she is taking action in that she puts her life on the line. Like, she's putting the staff, everybody in the castle first. And I have just absolutely loved it. Like, she's total girl boss vibes. And as I said in that video about the anime, that Erden, he stands her. He is her #1 sip. And I love to see it so much. And so I feel like there's never a boring moment, that it's completely moving forward, whether that be the action or the romance or the drama or the mystery, because there are a lot of questions being asked. And it is funny to, because it has some good humor, that there's moments where, like, how are Korean products and items ending up in this fantasy world? And so there's something that's happening with that. And I just loved every single moment. I just thought it was so gripping and so engaging. And seeing these two be very different but deeply love each other, even though Erden's like, we need to get a divorce so you can go be happier. Like, dude, she is happy with you. Why are you not seeing it? Why are you not seeing it? Seeing them find out, why does Erden view himself as such a monster, and that, like, he feels like he looks like one when obviously he is not one. But there's so many good elements. I love it all so much, and I call these two my beloveds because they're just so precious, and I really love seeing them together. I love seeing them overcome together as one. Not just Erden being cool, saving the day, not just our female lead going out there and saving the day. I mean, yes, individually they both do that, but at the end of the day, they always come together for one another as a couple, and it's just, it is perfection, y'all. It is perfection. I would definitely recommend this the most in this sense if you want something that's action-based and not just focus on more of the of the romantic things that are happening. Granted, if you want politics, the Remarried Empress, and you want a lot of drama, then Village Just to Die. Of course, if you want that Otome game and that reverse harem kind of vibe, though it's not like she's dating every dude, because she's not. But if you want that vibe, at least, that is there. But these two, they stay committed all the way and has a little bit of everything. I love it so much, and I really just hope that volume 4 and 5 will not take forever to come and get printed, because I need the whole series so I can reread it all physically and not just digitally, because I love them so much. For number 4, this series pretty much was my #1 manhwa read, even though, like, there was Villains Dressed to Die and Remarried Empress, and there were other series. Reoccurringly, as volumes came out last year, this series kept being on, like, my favorites each month, and that is why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's Mansion. This series was already really good. I mean, it's funny because I vividly remember reading volume 1. When it came out, it was an influencer pickup because the community kept gushing how good it was, and so I decided to give it a try. For that month, we didn't have any AC. It went out, and it took them forever to get us a replacement for one and put it in. I remember being at my house when it was like melting, waiting for Domino's to show up with some pizza because we were eating at my parents' house, but I forgot to change my address, and here I was sweating with no AC, sitting on my couch, reading this, thriving, and loving it. That has just sort of continued, though we've had AC. So it's about a young woman here, Raeliana. So she's in Korea. I don't remember how it exactly happens, but she ends up, oh yes, she gets pushed off a building because she is promised something. She ends up getting pushed off, and then when she wakes up, she is in the body of Raeliana, and in this world, her fiance is going to take her out, because this world, I'm trying to think of how much to say, because the latest volume, we get a lot of details, a lot of answers that are happening from the beginning, but basically, let me see if it says it. Yes, that she is a character who is fated to be killed by her fiance. So she knows that she's in this story, and she's read the novel, and so she decides, well, I'm gonna go after the all-powerful Duke here, Noah, basically say, hey, let's work together, because she knows things due to reading the original novel, and is like, hey, I'm able to help give you a level up, but we gotta be engaged. I don't think she tells him, like, her fiance that she has is gonna go after her, you know? And he willingly agrees. But he's so snarky, and they have so many up and downs, and it's a very slow burn. I'm not gonna say enemies to lovers. They definitely clash at the beginning, and they still clash even later, but the slow burn of this romance is everything, and it definitely has the trope of he fell first. I was flipping through this volume, and I was like, Laura, it's been a hot minute since you read volume 1. I was like, you need to go back and reread from the beginning, because I have reread a lot of the later volumes. Like, I try and, like, skim through it, reread it to see what's or get a refresher before diving in the next one. And I was reading this, and I was like, man, I forgot a lot of the details, but it is so good. I love seeing Raeliana thrive, and love seeing her have to deal with Noah as well, but honestly, seeing having a woman who knows how to use a revolver was everything. Like, I was thriving. I love that. I was like, go Ray Leanna, go Ray Leanna. She is awesome. And I feel like the story itself is really, really good. I love the characters, but man, the romance is just, it's so satisfying seeing them slowly fall for each other, be in denial, have little signs, know what make things known, and then Ray and Leanna come around. I like, they better have a happy ending because at least the last 2 volumes have been so intense. Latest one ended on a huge cliffhanger, and I'm like, what is going to happen next? There is definitely a lot of mystery and a lot of quirky characters. Like, I love Grandpa. I didn't like Grandpa at first. I'm not gonna deny that. But as we got to know him, I liked him a lot. I've loved him in the latest volumes. I love that Ray Leanna is coming as her own in this character, but that is at odds when she starts remembering things. So there's this other problem of like, what does she do? There's the worry of like, what happens when Noah gets around the actual main female lead of the original novel? Is his heart going to change where he no longer loves Ray Leanna and he's going to be wanting to be with her? And there's just like that unnervingness that's happening. All of it is so good. And it's just continuing to build with every single volume of the questions, of the mystery, of the romance, and some of the suspense. And now finding out, again, a lot of the questions that are being asked at the beginning of the volume that they're being answered. And I don't know what's going to happen. I know this one's available digitally online, but I've just been physical only. I feel like the next volume is the final volume, but there's no listing from Yen. We were getting these volumes every 3 months, and now there's been nothing. And I'm like, where is the volume, Yen Press? Like, please, like, I need to know what is going to happen. Is Ray Leanna going to get the happy ending that she deserves, that she needs, that she wants? Like, give it to her. Give it to her and Noah, because they have gone through so much to get here. And I really love when you have series like this. Like, I've seen it in First Night with the Duke. I believe that's the name of that series. I've read that one 2 or 3 times, but I love when you have men like that, and like Noah here, our female lead tells them like, hey, I'm from another world. This is a story. Blah, 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 blah. And they just take it in stride and they believe their woman. And I really love seeing that trope just shine in this series. If it would be called a trope, I'm not really sure, but it's beautiful. It's wonderful. And that's what happens here. And Noah is fully in Ray Leanna's corner. Now we just need to see the end. We need to see the happy outcome because the moments between them and some of these latest volumes have been swoon worthy and I have loved it. So this is actually a really similar one to My Secretly Hot Husband, where you see the female lead take action. I mean, I guess all of these leads, honestly, you see that, but I feel like it's a little bit more prevalent and it's presented differently, because I'm not saying like with Navier that like she lets a man dictate her actions and he's the one solving all the problems. Like, I'm not trying to say that any of them are damsels in distress, but I guess I feel like when I think of the romance and the action, and I think of how like these girls are just like, if a man could do it, I could do it too. And that's sort of, I feel like, I guess what makes me think of like, I really love how these girls just take action, especially when I feel like if I was in their shoes, I know I'd be a damsel in distress. I have no doubts. I'd be like, nope, if the man wants to do it for me, that's perfectly fine. I know not everybody agrees with that kind of line of thinking. I get hesitant to say that, but I just know me, that I'm not going to be taking out a revolver and out here shooting my ex-fiance and then going over here dating Noah, saying I'm his fiance, and I'm like pretty nervous and scared because this guy, I mean, he's a big deal and he can back it up with actions and words, and your life is sort of hanging by a thread. Like, I think I'm just gonna stay in my bedroom and I'm never gonna leave. So I feel like our female lead from My Secretly Hot Husband and Ray Leanna, that they really speak to me and how courageous and daring they are and willing to go get answers when everybody would tell them like, you don't need to go get answers, but yet they're going for them. They are going full ahead. These men, their men are coming with them, standing with them, despite if they're unsure of like why the female lead's acting this way or just don't understand in general, like they still believe them. Like that speaks a lot to me and I really love that. So Ray Leanna has been such a great one. Now, if we could just get that final volume, it'd be even better because that would be amazing. I do have a first impression on this first volume. I feel pretty confident that when we finally do get the final volume, that'll probably do a full video review because that's just how much I love this series. And for number 5, I'm really excited to say that Dark Moon, the Blood Altar, very different from all the other series that I have featured. It is not a romance. I mean, has a little bit of romance, but it's like 5%. 5% of the 95% action, intensity, fear, forgetting to breathe, all of the things. Very, very action-packed, but I have loved this series. Honestly, what made me even decide to read this? Because it's about vampires. I have nothing against vampires, but I am team werewolf, just so you know, FYI. And I don't know, I don't really listen to, is it Iphon? Oh gosh, I'm so scared that I just butchered that. So I'm gonna put it right here, the name of this K-pop group. I really wasn't into K-pop, not because I disliked it, but I just didn't listen to it. But yeah, I saw the hype for this and I was like, you know, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna give it a chance. And it's about a group of boys who are vampires. They go to this school. As they're at this school doing their own thing, we meet our female lead, Suha, and she is a young woman that happens to have these really strong powers. And a lot of people think that she herself is a vampire. She ends up losing her best friend when she was younger. And so now she's trying to start fresh, start anew at this school where she meets these boys who just seem as quirky as her. They have different powers, different abilities, but they're not vampires because she's like, I hate them, as they took the life of her best friend when she was little. Of course, they're like keeping their secrets very secret, but they can't help themselves be very drawn to Suha and they don't really know why. Their main boy, I mean, they're all the main boys, but our guy here, I had to go look up his name, Helly. Helly is my favorite character too. Like, sort of forgot what to say because I was like, Helly. I was like, what is Helly's name? Like, looking for it. But yeah, so Helly and the gang are trying to keep their secret under wraps, but obviously things are not going to work out. And then Sua's going to find out that they are actually vampires, but there's more to this story than them being vampires and Suha not being a vampire herself, but having these really interesting abilities. This series has been non-stop action. I loved volume 1. I'm pretty sure I loved volume 2 or volume 3, but there was like a brief moment either between 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 that I'm like, Suha, girl, you have been such a strong heroine, taking matters in your own hands. You're being brave, you're being daring. But girl, what decisions are you making right now? Like, I did not understand her decision making at all. It almost was a deal breaker for me, but I was like, man, I really love the guys. I really love, we just have this non-stop action and seeing everybody kick butt, look cool. I mean, the action panels really are something else. They are incredibly well drawn, well done. I mean, it really feels like I'm watching a movie so many times when I'm reading these volumes. But I mention all that because I'm glad I kept reading, because this series honestly taught me sometimes you just have to trust the process as the series unfolds. Because if I wouldn't have, I would have been missing out on this. After that volume, I got the answers I needed. I saw like why Suha made the decisions she did. It all clicked, it made sense. And it has gone full force where like things are coming out about the past, things are coming out about these characters, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like there's many times, just like with Kaiju number 8, when I read it, that I forget to breathe, that I'm like, I just forget because I'm so caught up in this moment. I'm so caught up in wondering what is going to happen. And of course, there are werewolves. They don't play a major part, but they have, as like later volumes, they have been. Volume 7, is it volume 7? But I know the next volume that's supposed to be coming out will be the final. And I'm just ready to see it end, even though I'm going to be really sad because there's so many times that these boys are at death's door. And I'm like, I don't know how they're going to overcome this. Maybe to some people that may sound repetitive, that they're always pushing themselves to the brink. They're always like literally look like they're about to die. But I don't know, it all just comes together in this really engaging storytelling that I just have not been able to get enough of. I have deeply enjoyed so much of this series, even if I'm terrified for these characters and really not gonna know, like, are we even gonna get a happy ending? Because when we have this one flashback, I gasped. I was shocked. I didn't know what to think, and I, many times, be sitting on my couch when reading, and I just sit there without even turning the page because I'm trying to process all the information that we just got. It's very, very good. And maybe it's not as like detailed of a plot, say some of the other series are, but I just find the boys and the characters and the action just so deeply fun and interesting to read. I was gonna say, I don't know if fun would be the right word, since I'm always like worried. I mean, in the latest volume we have, hope has felt very strong throughout each volume, but it has felt very bleak in that they are just getting, every time they think they've won this one battle, there's a more stronger opponent that it seems better than them. Then I'm like, how are you going to beat this character? How are you going to beat this enemy? How are you going to get to the place you need to go to? Because they're on a time limit. And if they don't get there, something bad's really going to happen. And I'm like, I don't even know what that something bad's going to happen. We've been implied of what the bad thing could be, but to see it in action, in reality, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. So I have deeply enjoyed this series. If you're looking for a manhwa that has really good action and you're not wanting that focus on the romance, I feel like volume 1 and the latest volume have the strongest romantic themes, vibes, or moments, but they're very few and far between. And nothing has really been addressed except for the latest volume. And I'm like, the romance, it may not be the biggest thing, and it may not be the reason I'm mainly reading this, but it better get addressed in that final volume. I have been wanting that. I've been looking forward to that. I would like to see my ship sail. Even though I love all the guys so much, they are all very, very wonderful, and I need a happy ending that's not even just a romantic happy ending. I need a happy ending for the guys just for their sake. They have worked so hard to really try and bring the vampires and the werewolves together against this one common enemy. And I'm like, please let them stand strong. Let them be strong enough to take down this man, and there be peace in the land forever, because they more than deserve it. So also, if you like, I guess, a large cast of characters that are all very different, and you really like that strong theme of brotherhood, this series is it. I love it so much, and at least I'm like bitterly sweet feeling about the next volume being the last one, because I've just really looked forward to every single volume that we've got and have a great time every single time we read it. And honestly, with all of these, I deeply love every single one of them. They are amazing. Would highly, highly, highly recommend all of these. They're so good. I love them very much, and can say that there's no doubts. Like, if sometimes I feel a top 5 Wednesday video and I'm like, maybe I should have included that one. No, this is it. Like, this is my ultimate top 5 manhwa in no certain order that I really, really love. But I would love to hear from you, friends. Do you enjoy reading manhwa, whether that's digitally, physically, or both? Let me know down below, especially what are some of your favorite ones. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!